Hey, what's going on, guys? So my name is Ipe and I've been making money on the internet since 2014, and my mentor Dan Klein taught me the local lead generation business model. Now Dan is somebody that has had success with other businesses. He's had 6 other businesses that he has ran before. Some of them were not even online businesses. Dan has a lot of business experience. Dan is the original coach of the local lead generation business model. He actually innovated on this model, and he has produced countless of online millionaires over the years. And other online coaches that you see on the internet that's teaching this model, they all learn from Dan. And I tell people all the time, the copycats can never be good as the original. Today, if you combine Dan's online businesses, his software companies, and his real estate portfolio, his net worth is easily over $30 million. So this is somebody that doesn't really even have to work a day more in his life, but he continues to do so. And over the years, I've had the fortune of being able to work closely with him in our lead gen coaching program. And so I've got to spend a lot of one-on-one time with him and learn a lot of business lessons over the years that I'm truly thankful for. And in this video, I'm gonna go over 6 lessons about business that I've learned from Dan. The very first lesson I learned from Dan is don't worry about following your passion. Now, when I first joined the lead gen coaching program, I remember to this day, I was on the call with Dan as Dan was trying to pitch me into the program. And one of the objections that I had was, Dan, I'm not sure if generating a lead for a small business owner, if I'm gonna be even passionate about something like that. And what Dan told me was, Ipe, don't worry about following your passions. He told me a story where his dad, who was a pastor, had financial struggles all his life growing up. Dan, with his 2 brothers, they didn't grow up with money, and it taught Dan at a young age a very valuable lesson that regardless of what your passions may be, his dad was very passionate about the Bible, but regardless of that, money is very important in terms of just giving you freedom in life, which they didn't have in many cases. So it taught him that it doesn't matter what your passion is, it's very important to create income for your family. And what Dan taught me was you're stuck at a 9-to-5 job right now, which you hate. So your first priority should be just focusing on whatever necessary, whatever business is the most lucrative that you can succeed in, so you can get out of the rat race of a 9-to-5. And then once you're out of the 9-to-5, then you're gonna have more time freedom to be able to pursue other passions that you may have. Number 2, keep it simple and stupid. We have a motto in our program that says follow the process, because that's one of the powers of what Dan has created with the lead gen coaching program. Is he distilled an online business into a simple, easy to follow, step-by-step process that he has tested on his daughter, who was 11 years old at the time, go through the training, and his father, who was 75 years old, go through the training as well, to make sure that anybody can follow the process and produce results. This reminds me of a documentary which I saw a couple years ago about the creation and the founder of McDonald's. McDonald's was a regular burger restaurant until this slick salesman came into the business, and he decided to create a system that the restaurant could follow, in which any layman could run the system and run a successful burger business. And that was the turning point in which McDonald's became a nationwide franchise. Dan is really good at not overcomplicating things, keeping things simple, but executing on those things that produce results and income over and over again as quickly as possible. Which leads me to number 3, which is money loves speed. And this is what Dan teaches all the time, which is that most people that are not entrepreneurial mindset, we have a 9-to-5 mindset. Most of our lives, we do the bare minimum to collect our hourly paycheck. But in the entrepreneur world, the slower you go, the more momentum you begin to lose. So really, what Dan has taught me is to think differently in business. You have to go fast. And the saying that we all go by as students that we learn from Dan is take massive imperfect action. Too many people get analysis by paralysis. You have a lot of uncertainty and you feel like you got to get everything perfect before you take action. But the correct attitude is, even if you don't know every part of the process, just take massive imperfect action, and you can always course correct down the road, because it's through reps where you gain confidence and experience. And so it's much better to be imperfect and take massive reps versus somebody that overthinks things and tries to get perfect his first time. Because as you take action, it's going to build momentum and it's going to become easier and easier for you to take more action, take more risks in business. Number 4, use leverage in business. And this is something that Dan has continually impressed me, because as we hang out together, we are always talking about different business ideas that we can start. And sometimes I would come up with more of a brick and mortar type of business. So for example, we have a student base of over 7,000 students. One day I told Dan, what if we created a nationwide junk removal company? All we have to do is get drivers and get these trucks, and we could have students build Legion sites all across the nation, and we could create a nationwide brand, whether that's junk removal or tree care or a limousine company. We could create this nationwide brand. But what Dan taught me is that, sure, that's not a business model that you could create, but would you want to manage all of that? Meaning that a brick and mortar business has so much moving pieces, so much staff that you have to manage, and equipment and licenses. And so is that worth our time, Ipe, to tackle something like that? Whereas you can create a software business like Snaps.ai or a digital program that you can sell an info product, and it is much more scalable and lucrative, and there's not as much ongoing effort involved because we're using technology as a leverage point. So it just really goes to show that not all businesses was created equal. There's a reason why we're huge believers of the local Legion business model, because it is using a lot of leverage. We're using basically websites and a tracking phone number, and we're able to generate a lead for a small business owner, and they have to do all the work on our behalf, while we can have a more relaxed lifestyle with a lot of time freedom, because all we have to do is create more websites in other regions and generate lead for small businesses and just get paid off of producing literally like digital products, which are leads. This is why we're a huge fan of lead gen. And also in other businesses, Dan is constantly looking to use leverage, technology, and recently AI to create as much leverage as possible. And in business is really important, because if you have leverage, it's like going to battle with a machine gun instead of a pocket knife. You're gonna be able to create a lot more income in a shorter period of time, and you're gonna be in a business that you really enjoy, because you're not gonna be burnt out dealing with the day-to-day operation of a traditional brick and mortar business. Number 5, get into business where you can charge more for your services and have less clients. Dan in his past has tried multi-level marketing. He tried selling even this like hair regrowth product, and he tried a few other things before he found the lead gen business model. But in that process, he learned that a lot of these affiliate offers or these multi-level marketing products, you're only making 20, 30, 40 bucks after each sale. And then he realized that he has to sell a lot of those smaller physical products, a lot of e-commerce physical products, right? It's smaller margins, so you have to sell a lot more of those. You have to do a lot of work to find enough customers so you can earn enough income. And Dan's first goal was to get to 10K a month, and he realized that the approach was off. Instead of trying to sell a low margin product, he realized, what if he could find a service where he can charge $1,000 a month for his services, and all he needs was 10 of those customers to get to 10K a month. Again, which is why we like the local lead gen business model. To get to 10K a month, we don't have to continually find hundreds of customers each and every month. We just need 10 clients to pay us $1,000 a month. So when you start thinking in those terms, to getting to 10K a month becomes much easier to make a plan for and to execute on. The 6th lesson I learned from Dan is build up other key players around you. And so if you look at Dan's business and his career, you can see that he has brought up other leaders in the group that he has formed partnerships with, myself included. Dan doesn't own 100% of any of the businesses that he owns. He always finds partners that he trusts, and he gives those partners a huge percentage of the business, and those partners are really motivated to grow the business, which in turn grows Dan's business. And there's a synergy effect as well, where it's 1 + 1 instead of equaling 2, 1 + 1 can equal 5. Dan is such a great leader and he's such a good mentor. As he spends more personal time with those key players in his company, those key players continue to grow and become more and more savvy businessmen and women, and they're able to continually help grow his business. And this is the only way in which I can see how Dan has created such a big empire, not just local lead generation program, but all the little offshoots of businesses that he has created around it, whether that's software companies, Snaps.ai or CallSling. He has created a conglomerate of businesses, and in each of those conglomerates he has created partners that is able to help him run the business. And I've taken that advice. Today I have a team of 25 people, and within that team I have key players that I've spent a lot more personal time with to get them to a higher level, so I can entrust a lot of the day-to-day operations of my business, which frees up my time to be able to have more time to think on new strategies and new ways of growing the business. Because if you don't have partners like that, you're constantly in the business, it's hard to get your head out of the business long enough to be able to come up with new ideas. So that is the 6 key lessons that I've learned from Dan over the last 8 years, and over the last 4 years we've been partners working very closely with each other. And I'm somebody that has studied Grant Cardone, Gary Vaynerchuk, Alex Hormozy, Jordan Belfort, like all, you name it, all the online coaches out there, I've studied them all. And for me, Dan Klein is a better coach than all of them. I'm so grateful that I found Dan Klein back in 2014, and he has continually provided coaching to all of us. And so again, if you're interested in the local lead gen business model, there's a good reason why Dan has picked this model, and we've stuck with it over the last 8 years. And we're big fans of lead generation business model, even more so today. We just know how powerful it is. It uses a lot of leverage points. So if you're interested, click on the link in the description on the next page. I've created a dope webinar for you that I spent a lot of time on creating. So it's gonna explain the lead gen business model A through Z. If you like this video, hit the like button and subscribe to the channel. I'm gonna be dropping more online business model insights. And I'll leave with this. There's a reason why our program is one of the most successful online programs out today. It has the longevity that not too many online courses have, and big reason for that is Dan Klein's mentorship and his ongoing leadership inside our program. Today we have over 7,200 students. My biggest lesson I can impart on you is get a mentor, and get the right mentor, because the right mentor can level you up like nothing you can imagine. No books or no other personal development stuff that I've invested in the past pales in comparison to getting a mentor like Dan Klein. So with that, I hope to see you guys on the next video. Have a great day.